was a cold, silent night. A young boy arrived at an old, nearly abandoned railway station. The clock showed 11:45 p.m. His train was delayed, and there was no one around except him. The station looked ancient, with cracked walls, dim flickering lights, and an eerie silence that felt unnatural. As he stood on the empty platform, he noticed something strange. The loudspeakers suddenly crackled, even though no staff was present. A distorted voice echoed through the station. "The last train is not for the living." The boy felt a chill run down his spine. He looked around, but there was no one. The benches were empty, and the ticket counter was locked from the inside. The wind blew slowly, carrying whispers that didn't sound like the wind at all. He tried to call someone on his phone, but there was no signal. Just then, he heard footsteps behind him. Slowly turning around, he saw nothing, only darkness stretching beyond the platform. Moments later, from the far end of the tracks, a train appeared. It was old, black, and covered in rust. What was strange was that it made no sound at all. No horn, no wheels grinding, just complete silence as it approached the station. The same distorted voice came again. "Bored now? Or remain here forever?" Fear turned into confusion. Against his better judgment, the boy stepped forward. The train doors opened by themselves with a deep creaking sound. Inside, the lights were dim and flickering. No passengers were visible, but he felt like something was watching him from the shadows. As soon as he stepped inside, the doors slammed shut violently. The train began moving instantly, disappearing into the dark tunnel without any sound. The next morning, the station staff arrived. Everything looked normal again, except for one thing. A small backpack was found lying on the platform. The boy was never seen again, and the loudspeaker, once again, whispered softly, "The next passenger is ready." Title: The Whispering Platform. It was past midnight when a young boy found himself alone at an old railway station. The place looked forgotten by time. Rusted signs hung crookedly, the benches were broken, and the dim yellow lights flickered like they were struggling to stay alive. He was waiting for a train that was already late. According to the schedule, the next train should arrive at 12:10 a.m. But there was something strange about this station. It felt too quiet, too heavy, like the air itself was watching him. At exactly 12 a.m., the loudspeaker suddenly turned on by itself. A sharp static noise filled the station, followed by a broken voice. "Do not stand on platform 2. It remembers you." The boy froze. There was no staff, no operator room nearby, nothing that could explain the sound. Still, the message kept repeating slowly, as if it was being whispered directly into his ears. Curiosity got the better of him. He walked toward platform 2. As soon as he stepped onto it, the temperature dropped instantly. His breath became visible in the cold air, even though it wasn't winter. Then he noticed something horrifying. His footprints were disappearing behind him, as if the platform was erasing his presence. Suddenly, he heard soft whispers all around him. Not one voice, but many. Some sounded old, some young, all saying the same thing. "You're already here. You just don't remember it." The lights above him started flickering violently. In those flashes, he saw figures standing at the edge of the platform, motionless, staring at him. But whenever the lights stayed on, they were gone. A train horn echoed in the distance. But it didn't sound normal. It was slow, distorted, almost like a human scream stretched into metal sound. The boy tried to run back, but the exit gate was no longer there. Instead, there was another platform, identical to the one he was standing on. And then he understood something terrifying. He was not waiting for the train anymore. The station was waiting for him. It was a freezing night at an old railway station. The boy had been waiting for the last train, but something about this place felt deeply wrong. The station was too silent. No announcements, no workers, no other passengers. Only the distant sound of wind passing through broken windows. The digital board flickered and then went blank. Suddenly, the loudspeaker crackled to life on its own. A slow, broken announcement echoed through the empty station. "This train does not stop, but it always arrives." The boy frowned. It didn't make sense. Every train has a schedule, every train has a stop. But here, it felt like the rules didn't matter. Minutes passed. Then, far away on the tracks, a faint light appeared. It was getting closer. A train was coming. But something was strange. It had no sound. No wheels, no horn, no vibration. Just silence as it moved closer. As it reached the station, the boy noticed something horrifying. The train windows were completely dark, except for one. Inside, there was a shadow sitting still, staring directly at him. The doors opened automatically with a deep metallic groan. The loudspeaker spoke again, but this time it sounded like it was inside his head. Bored now, or never leave. Fear and curiosity fought inside him. His legs moved on their own. Step by step, he walked toward the train. Every step felt heavier, like the ground was pulling him back. As soon as he stepped inside, the door slammed shut. The lights inside flickered violently. The train started moving immediately, but there was no station outside anymore. Only endless darkness. He ran to the window. There was nothing outside, no tracks, no sky, just black emptiness. Then he noticed something worse. The shadow he saw earlier was now sitting next to him. Slowly, it turned its head and whispered, "You were never waiting for the train?" The boy tried to scream, but no sound came out. The train kept moving and never stopped again. And at the abandoned station, the loudspeaker still plays sometimes. Next passenger, boarding soon. It was a dark, rainy night when the boy arrived at the old railway station. The place looked abandoned, yet strangely maintained, as if someone still cared for it or was still using it. The tiles were clean in some places, but cracked in others. The lights flickered slowly, like they were breathing. The boy checked his phone. No signal. His train was supposed to arrive at 12:30 a.m., but the board kept blinking randomly, sometimes showing times that didn't make sense. At exactly 12:15 a.m., the loudspeaker turned on by itself. A soft, distorted voice echoed through the empty station. "This station is not vacant, you are." The boy looked around nervously. No one was there. Not a single passenger. Yet, he felt like he was being watched from every direction. Suddenly, he heard the sound of footsteps behind him. He turned quickly, but there was nothing. Only wet tiles and dim light reflections. But the footsteps didn't stop. They continued, matching his own movements. He walked toward the waiting area, trying to calm himself. But then he noticed something disturbing. His reflection in the glass wasn't matching his actions perfectly. It was a second behind, like something else was copying him. The loudspeaker spoke again. "You are not waiting for the train is waiting for you." The wind started blowing harder, even though the air was still inside the station. The doors of platform 3 slowly opened on their own. A cold, heavy silence filled the space. Far away, a train light appeared. It was approaching very slowly, too slowly, and yet, the sound of its arrival was already inside the station. The boy stepped back, but the exit gate was gone. In its place was another platform, identical to the one he was standing on. Same lights, same silence, same emptiness. And then he understood the worst truth. This station didn't have arrivals. It only had departures. The train stopped. The doors opened. And a voice, very close now, whispered, "Welcome back." The boy didn't remember boarding the train, but he was already inside it. And outside, the station lights kept flickering, waiting for the next passenger. It was around 1 a.m. when the boy was still waiting alone at the old railway station. The atmosphere felt heavier than before. The air was cold, but not natural. It felt like something was draining warmth from the place itself. The station board had stopped working completely. Only a faint buzzing sound came from the speakers. The boy tried calling someone, but his phone battery dropped from 60% to 1% in seconds, without any reason. Then suddenly, the silence broke. From the far end of the tracks, a faint light appeared. The boy squinted his eyes. A train was coming, but this one was different. It was completely silent. No horn, no wheel sound, not even the usual metal vibration. It moved like it was floating rather than running on tracks. As it got closer, he noticed something terrifying. The train windows were pitch black, but every few seconds, a shadow appeared inside, like someone was walking slowly from one compartment to another. The loudspeaker turned on again. This time, the voice was clearer but deeper. "Do not look inside, it will notice you." The boy's heart started racing. He wanted to run, but his body felt stuck, like the ground was holding him in place. The train slowly stopped in front of him. The doors opened with a long, painful creaking sound. Inside, everything was dark, but the air was different, heavier, colder, almost like breathing inside a closed coffin. A strange feeling forced him to look inside one of the windows. And that's when he saw it. A version of himself was sitting inside the train, staring directly at him. But the worst part, That other him slowly smiled. The loudspeaker whispered one final time. You finally found yourself. The boy stepped backward in fear, but the platform behind him had disappeared. There was only the train now. And without any choice, he stepped inside. The doors closed instantly, and the train moved, silently, into the darkness. At the abandoned station, nothing changed. Except the next night, another passenger arrived, waiting at the same platform. It was nearly midnight at the deserted railway station. The boy stood alone on platform 1, waiting for a train that felt like it would never come. The station looked ancient, broken benches, rusted signboards, and dim yellow lights flickering like dying fireflies. The air was unusually cold, and there was no sound except the distant wind. Even the usual train announcements had stopped completely. It felt like the station had been cut off from the world. Suddenly, the boy heard footsteps behind him. Slow, heavy, deliberate. He turned quickly, expecting to see a station worker or another passenger. But there was no one there. Only empty space and darkness. Then, out of nowhere, an old man appeared near the edge of the platform. He was wearing an old railway uniform, but it looked worn out, almost like it belonged to another century. The old man stared at the boy with serious eyes and said in a low voice, "Leave this place now, don't board the next train." The boy stepped back in confusion. "Why? I'm just waiting for my train." The old man shook his head slowly. "This station does not take passengers, it keeps them." Before the boy could ask anything else, a loud sound echoed from the tracks. A train light appeared in the distance, slowly approaching. The same silent train from before. The old man immediately grabbed the boy's arm tightly and said, "If you step into that train, you will never return. You will forget who you are." The boy looked at the approaching train, then at the old man. Fear and curiosity clashed inside him. For a moment, he almost listened. But then the loudspeaker crackled again. "Boarding now." And the old man suddenly disappeared. The boy stood frozen. There was no one beside him anymore. The train stopped. The doors opened. And this time, no one was there to warn him. He slowly walked forward and stepped inside. The doors closed, and the station went silent again. Only the wind remained, whispering. Another one stayed. The station was completely silent now. No wind, no announcements, no footsteps. It was as if time itself had stopped. The old railway station stood under a dark sky, its lights flickering one last time before settling into a dull, lifeless glow. The boy had already boarded the train the night before, or at least that's what the records should have shown. But something was wrong, because the station was still waiting, and the loudspeaker was still active. At exactly 12 a.m., the speaker crackled again. A cold, broken voice echoed through the empty platform. "The next passenger is ready." The station master's room was locked from the inside, yet the system kept running on its own. The digital board suddenly flickered back to life, showing a single name. Unknown passenger. Outside, a faint light appeared again on the tracks. The same train, the same silent arrival. But this time, the doors were already open before it even stopped. A shadow stood on platform 1. A new boy, nervous, confused, waiting. He checked his phone. No signal. He looked around. No one. Just like the last time. The station felt familiar, too familiar. Then, from behind the ticket counter, a whisper came. "Don't look at the train, it remembers you." The boy froze. Something about that voice felt unnatural, like it was coming from inside the walls. The train finally stopped. No sound, no vibration, only silence. The doors opened. Inside, it was completely dark, except for one thing. A faint reflection in the window. A boy sitting inside, already looking back at him. The new boy stepped backward in fear, but the platform behind him was gone. There was only the train now. And the loudspeaker spoke one final time. "You are not the first, and you will not be the last." The wind suddenly stopped. The doors closed, and the train slowly disappeared into the darkness, taking the new passenger with it. At the station, everything returned to silence. But the board still blinked. "Next passenger, pending."